I came to art from a different angle because although I was artistic when I was a child, I was more inclined into drawing lines. My father was a civil engineer, and when he drew plans, I sat down beside him and copied the plans without understanding what I was doing. So when I finished high school in Argentina, I went into architectural design. But I was living in a city where in front of the house that I was living was the best textile artist in tapestry of the country. And I got to be friends with her. She was a lot older than me and interested in the medium, learned how to weave tapestries with her. When I came to Canada, I never revalidated the degree. I had worked in ceramics in Argentina as well, so I just took the two disciplines here, ceramic and textile. But I took the ceramics in architectural ceramics, so I started customizing work to be installed in homes. I didn't do pottery, you know. So that's how I came to art. I think that was the change of countries that made me took that path. This project came to be Liz Wiley, the curator of the Kelowna Art Gallery, last year. She asked me, she said, why don't you make a proposal for an exhibition at the Kelowna Art Gallery? And I asked in which space, and she said that in the garden. And by that time, my son, Maxwell, has finished high school, and he was interested for quite a few years to go into architecture. So I thought, wow, this is an ideal situation to bring him into the project, for him to understand what it takes to make a proposal. And I put it on his shoulders to make a proposal, to come up with the idea and help to make the proposal, to write the artist statement, and that's what he did. Well, I asked questions to Maxwell, so he wanted to be an architect, so which is the first element that came to your mind that, you know, we came here, visit the space, photograph the space, he took the measurements, and one of the ideas was columns. So how to create architectural columns in a manner that was, in a way, something new, that was not the traditional. And I had collected for many years clean trash to weave into tapestries. So I have all these bags of clean trash. And between the colors and the clean trash, we came up with the idea of hanging the way that is hanging and display. And then we did a little bit of the research how the clean trash accumulate in a landfill. And we find out that the less recyclable is plastic, and has the most amount of recyclable, the landfill, is plastic. The second is metal, and so metal is less amount than plastic. And the third one, we decided to go with leather and rubber and electronics that are the third one in recycling, but there is less amount in the landfill. So that's why, again, the plastic column is the tallest and the widest. The metal column is only 10 feet and is 24 inches max, the metal. And the third column is 8 feet and 18 inches. Yeah, so in proportion of what was found in the landfill. It's a different project for me. I never worked with trash before. It's an environmental project. We end up creating what we feel that is an urban garden that can be translated to, you know, any neighborhood in a big city. Because we decided to go with a vegetable garden to share with the public, but could be any type of garden. But the main thing that we learn is the transmission of knowledge between a mother and a son. You know, because when we started, I said to Liz Wiley, well, can you imagine all the things I will go through with a 57-year-old mother and an 18-year-old son? So, and we were looking for the tolerance, the understanding, the communication, and it went really well.
Well, when I was younger, like elementary school age, I enjoyed drawing and things like that. And then as I got into high school, because of the way it's set up, I could only choose one elective, and obviously I went with cooking because I got to eat food. But as a result, I never actually took art throughout high school. So really this project here at the Kelowna Art Gallery was really my first experience in art, apart from helping my mom in the studio doing the clay work and things like that. So for me, it was an interesting experience. It wasn't something that came easily, but at the same time, it wasn't something that was terribly difficult either, because I think it definitely helps because my mom's had art galleries over the years and all that kind of stuff. So I've been exposed to a lot of art. Well, she came up to me and said, okay, so Liz Wiley proposed me this. This is who Liz Wiley is. And from there, it kind of went, okay, this would look good on your portfolio for university, which was definitely a plus for me because as I never took art in high school, I was kind of lacking. So, okay, do you want to take part in this? Is this something you want to do? Okay, so how do you want to do it? From there, we started talking about different ideas that we could do, focusing from an architectural component perspective. And we had a few ideas and we had to change them around because of various things. So we ended up settling on the columns. And I'm not exactly sure where it was we found the picture, but we saw a picture where it was fishing line hanging down and little birds. So instead of little birds, we were using trash because that's what we decided to use, recyclable material. So we tried to figure out a way that we could set that up so it would be outdoors and it would kind of survive, right? Because the show does run for a year. So that was quite interesting, trying to see, okay, will fishing line hold outside for a year? How are we going to make it so it deals with the winds and the snow and all the other elements? I'm assuming that my mom being trained as an architect and seeing her work occasionally for the house plans, say as an example, I think that definitely had an influence. But for me, the big appeal for me for architecture is I'm able to create something that is more functional than most people view your average art, say paintings or sculptures, which are mostly aesthetic to most people anyway. Whereas architecture, to me, it's much the same thing. You're creating something, you're building something unique, but it serves more, I don't want to say it serves a purpose, whereas other stuff doesn't, but it's more functional in the sense that it's used by people, it's shelter. Well, first and foremost, if I were to do this in the future again, I would definitely not do it with my mother. I'm not sure exactly what the experience that a lot of other people have with their mothers, but personally, I don't win very many of the arguments, which made it challenging, we'll say. It was a bit frustrating at times, but I think for the most part, she was right in a lot of the aspects. And the few times that she was wrong, well, it balances out, but don't. Other than that, it was definitely an interesting experience. And I wish it was something that more people had opportunities, not necessarily for art, but more people had opportunities to go and do something in the community as opposed to just kind of going through the high school and all that kind of stuff. I think to be an architect at this point in time, you kind of have to be interested in it because that's the way it's going to be going. And I mean, for sure, I'd much rather build something that's environmentally friendly than something that's built out of everything else that's not, right? I mean, it makes more sense that way.